with Queen the Empower on the Empowerment Zone. And you know what we do here. By now, you need to be saying it with me. What do we do here? We amplify the voices of activists, community organizers or general organizers, humanitarians, change makers, and people who generally care, whether caring about South Africa or the globe. And we just get to find out who they are, what they do, why they do it, and we get to be inspired by their stories and we learn and actually do what? Take action. And on today's topic, we are going to be discussing something that we cannot live without. We are going to be discussing something that I'd like to believe is a crisis, although it's not put out there as a crisis. But for me, literally, it is a crisis because everything that we do on our daily basis, we need it. We need water. We need water to drink. We need water to clean ourselves for hygiene purposes, to clean our homes, and everything else. I mean, it goes as far as farming and all other things that you can think of at the top of your head. But also, I just want to remind you to like, subscribe, and share, and call a friend to call a friend, because this is a chat you really want to be involved in. Because in today's episode, I am not riding solo. Of course, I've got incredible guests, prestigious guests with me. And today it's not just one. The plural is deliberate. It's not just one guest, it's actually two guests who have come to share their journey and their pearls of wisdom with us, and we literally look forward to engaging with them. So yes, I've got the ever beautiful Ingrid Bester, who is working with the Water Forum and other civic organizations that speak to everything advocating for the water crisis. And also we've got Richard Holden, who's from Joburg, and he is a water and sanitation specialist. And we'd like to get that angle of, a specialist, especially pertaining everything concerning water. But I think I've spoken a mouthful already. Let me just head it over to them just to introduce themselves. You can just tell us who you are to the audience. You can just say hi, hey, what's up, y'all, to the young ones, because we also want them to be a part of this conversation and to feel free just to find out the basic of what's happening around water. Just tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do outside your professional space.
Well, my name is Ingrid Bester. I've been living in Kensington for almost 3 years. And I was just a normal everyday resident who would basically just expect the water to go on when I opened a tap and that, and then suddenly it wasn't. And there were extended water outages. And I realized that we just weren't getting any information. Our local government representatives knew nothing about it. They could feed nothing back to us. And I wasn't alone. So in Joburg East, which is, Kensington, Broomer, Cyrildene, Yeovil, that area, we realized that it was actually quite a severe problem. And that was when there were some people who created the Water Crisis Committee.
Yeah.
And that is how I got involved. I put my hand up.
Yeah. Before you go on, as mentioned, that I want to get to know the human side of you. I can see you're a very beautiful lady. And I think that's why you are advocating for water. Look at how well your makeup is done. Imagine if you didn't bath this morning. Is this why the reason you advocated for water? Because you're so beautiful.
Well, the thing is, I am passionate about water because, especially when you're a woman, water is dignity.
Exactly.
And I often think about women who've just had babies, or they're menstruating, or they're having operations.
It's that serious.
Like, how do you look after yourself? How do you maintain dignity day after day?
And do you have children of your own?
I don't have children, but I've got friends who there's one of our fellow members on the Water Crisis Committee at the time. Her mother was very ill, and when you're looking after an elderly person who they've got they need to be looked after and cleaned and stuff like that. And I realized that it's a big problem, and water is dignity. And how can we be free without dignity?
We can't, absolutely.
And I often wonder about, the schools that have to close, or the girls who go to school, or even the boys, or whatever, or the people who have to go to work and they're service-facing, they have to service customers. They haven't been able to wash their uniforms. They haven't been able to bath, whatever.
Absolutely.
How do we... This isn't the freedom we were promised.
This is why I'm calling it a crisis. And perhaps right now, let me just give Richard Holden and a chance to introduce himself.
Sure.
I know what I like about Richard. It's the biking thing. It's the biking thing. But I just want the audience to hear it for themselves. You can just tell us, why would somebody want to hang out with you? Who are you? What do you like doing?
Well, if you're mad, you get on the back of my motorbike. I've got a nice big 1200cc motorbike, and I'll take you non-stop to Cape Town.
Do you know that what we call AMA 2000, which is the millennials, they say something like clock it when they really like something. So that's me right now saying it to you, clock it.
So, but that's just one of my passions. I mean, my background is, as you can hear from the funny accent, I'm from the UK originally, but I've been here since 1983, and I've essentially worked across the entire South Africa. So I've worked, as I put it, from the smallest water scheme in the farthest reaches of Namaqualand in the Northern Cape,
Okay.
up to my last job. We were working on the Lesotho Highlands Water Project. Particularly, we're looking at how to finance that. And I've done everything in between. And that work has taken me, so like in the 1980s, I was working in Soweto. And the Soweto of the 1980s is completely different of the Soweto of today.
Absolutely.
On there,
but the growth population as well.
Not just the growth population. You've seen how it was all rented housing.
Yeah.
Okay, then it became 99-year leases. Then people got ownership. The upgrades that you saw, because often when people talk about, oh, it was so much better previously, it's like, well, did you see what Soweto looked like?
Did they say it was better?
Yes, it's a frequent refrain that people say everything was better before 1994, but it's not. And I worked in the rural areas.
I'm so glad you're here to clear that out, because wow.
Yeah, so I worked in the rural areas. We were providing sanitation, we were providing water, and you could see what it was like then. And there's some areas, just in electricity, if you go Bergville, driving, there's a place called Oversilk Pass, and we used to go over that at night, and it would be black. Previously, you drive over there at night, it's lit up because of electricity has gone in there. So there have been massive changes for the good. So I've seen all those changes, and I think what I've really got passionate about is trying to get people to realise that some areas were very, very privileged.
That is so true.
In the past, and that privilege cost money.
How sad.
And now we've got to try and solve the problems, but with the hand which we've been dealt with.
And I think this is what leads me to the next question. And I love the fact that, I was asking Ingrid about herself, but she's so passionate about water. She just went into how it affects us socially. And I love the fact that you brought the timeline, the history element of it also, to understand that it's not just a current thing. It's something that's been building up to what is happening now. And what I'd like the audience to learn is, what are some of the current challenges that we're having? Or where does this water crisis challenge comes from? Like somebody who's totally clueless. Okay, they hear we're talking about water and we are claiming it's a crisis. If you can just break it down for somebody who's like 5 years.
So from my point of view, from a resident point of view, it's definitely we do have a water crisis.
Thank you. Because I feel like I'm crazy when I'm calling it a crisis.
But I mean, we must also understand there's a gap in the education, especially when, often when we're on the groups and we're on social media, people will say, but it rained a lot last night, we should have water today. They don't understand how the water even gets from Lesotho, for example, to here, or how we even get our water.
Absolutely.
When I first started having problems, I would Google, we went and started investigating where the reservoirs were. We didn't even know that. So we do have a problem, and it's an infrastructure issue, and it's an inherited issue, and it's a money issue, and it's a governance issue.
What are the main causes, Richard? Maybe that's where you can come in, of the current water challenges.
Our current challenges are on the distribution. In other words, where the water gets taken from Val d'Air. But I often do the presentation and I ask people, what is the most stupid thing in the world about Johannesburg? Do you know what the most, from a water point of view?
Actually, I'm here to be educated, just like the audience.
We built on a hill. We built on the top of the Continental Divide. And the reason we did it was because we had the world's biggest gold field underneath.
Yeah.
But that resulted in, if you read the history of Joburg, it had water shortages from day one. Okay, my house is old enough that it was built probably before the First World War. It had a bucket toilet in the back. Everyone in Joburg had a bucket toilet because water was so short. You couldn't have flush toilets. Only when the Val Barrage was completed in 1923 did my house was, I've got the plans which show they actually plumbed my house in 1923. So we've had a system where we pump. First of all, we have to pump water up 360 meters from Val Dam up to the Yeovil reservoirs, which are the higher. So that's hugely expensive.
It is.
You have pipes which have to contain that pressure. They have to be strong. So that costs money.
It
Okay.
does.
So RAND actually have done a very good job on upgrading their system. Okay. They had certain pipes which literally blew up. Okay. They went in a big campaign of replacing them. So in that way, their pipes are good, but they haven't got the capacity to meet what's called the demand. And what they're doing is they're pumping at absolute maximum capacity at any time there is a break. You hear Suikerbosch there's been a big power failure there. The Suikerbosch and Veriniken are to the treatment works of Rand Water. Then we have the big pump station south of Joburg, which you've got the Palmeet system, the Swartkopje system, Eikenhof system, and Mapleton. And every time you hear one of those pump stations go off, it means you've got a problem. And when they come back on, they're trying to meet the existing demand plus recover, which is why that's one set of problems.
Yeah.
Then you get into the city itself. We haven't built new reservoirs. We put reservoirs in there, so when there's a break, you've got water sitting there, should be for 48 hours. Joburg says 24 hours, but when you go and read their figures, in Yeovil, they say 21 hours if the reservoir is full when the break occurs. We get the readings each day, 70%, 60%, 58%. So when there's a break somewhere along the supply chain, you go without water like that. Yeah. I live on the Yeovil pump station zone, which is one of the highest station. We're lucky if we can survive 4 hours.
It makes so much sense. And also, I love the fact that when you mentioned the history of like places like Soweto and rural areas, and you mentioned that you come from Kensington, you come from Yeovil, I'm from the township of Vosloorus. Why do you think that some areas are affected more than other areas? When it comes to the water challenge?
Well, we must look at Hurst Hill as well, Richard, because that's the canary in the mine site. So whilst we are from Johannesburg East, what we learned was that areas like Claremont and Hurst Hill and that have been actually having struggles for almost over a decade now. And Hurst Hill, I think, is the highest reservoir.
Why do you think that is?
It's because, okay, they're the Yeovil, Alexander Park, Hurst Hill, Brixton are the original reservoirs of Joburg.
Oh, and another thing, I know that we're all Joburg citizens, but the audience, we also have people from like marginalized communities, rural areas, and other places outside Johannesburg. So when I am asking questions, just take cognizance that I'm generalizing around South Africa as a whole.
Well, I mean, look at Hammanskraal.
You are somewhat informed of what's happening in other areas as well.
Yeah, but they are the original ones and they're the highest ones. So being the oldest ones, they leak. So Hurst Hill 1 and 2 are out of operation at the moment. Yeovil 3 is out of operation. So you can see, so they didn't have enough capacity anyway, and they're out of operation. They've just built the new tower and reservoir in Brixton to improve it. But it's very late on Arnhem. So they've been impacted the worst. And then areas like yourself, you're lower down. So the demand here pulls down what we call the pressure on those high levels. So they're not getting the water into the reservoirs. Okay. And it's like a whole combination of factors. So that's why you see some areas impacted far worse than others. And the worst one is you can have it, we can be sitting, Ingrid can be my neighbour. She has water, I don't. But it's because between us, she's on, let's say, the Alexander Park zone, I'm on the Yeovil zone. So we're impacted differently. It's not like electricity when somebody puts the power back on.
Is it the same with other provinces as well?
All over. That's how water systems work.
And it's also like where you live and your elevation. So, I might live in Kensington and live at the bottom of the hill. I'll always have water. In Bedford View, if you live in the valley right next to the little river there, you'll have water all the time. Just a couple 100 meters up, you'll have people that really used to struggle. So water has to travel up, upstream and all of that. Not upstream, it needs to be pushed uphill.
So y'all are basically saying this is a geographical problem. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we didn't choose our forefathers didn't choose the best place to.
It's.
But is it really a geographical problem? Or it's to
how
some
wa-
certain degree it's a geographical problem?
It's a challenge.
It's how water systems work. You can we pump water into a reservoir generally on top of a hill. Okay, although there's some weird ones like Berea which are not on top of a hill. But
So are you saying in Berea they don't have?
Berea runs on Yeovil. It also confuses.
Yeah, it's a very complicated.
Because somebody will say you're on the Berea Reservoir, but you live in Bruma. Okay, so the Berea Reservoir feeds all the way down Bez Valley to Cyrildene and.
I really hope there's somebody watching that who lives in Berea who can just drop in a comment and just let us know what is their water experience in Berea.
Oh, it's not great.
It's not great.
It's not great.
But again, it's geography, it's history, because when it was originally done, everything stopped at Bezuidenhout Park. In 1947, they added Cyrildene onto the same system. And it's a long, narrow system. And then in the 1980s, they added on Bruma.
Okay. And now that we've at least gotten to understand how the geographical part of it influences the challenges that we're currently facing, Ingrid, this one is something I think you can just jump quickly into, because there's citizens like myself who pay for water but don't understand what is it that we're paying for. If you can just take us through the billing process, what have you learned ever since you worked with the water organization you work with when it comes to the billing process? What are we paying for? Because people don't even understand, this month I'm paying 500, next month I'm paying 2,000, then it keeps increasing or fluctuating. What am I paying for?
Well, the billing process is a little bit, there's the billing issue. There's a bit of a crisis there in terms of billing for air. And then there's also a bit of a problem where people don't understand what they're paying for. Or they just pay, but they don't question what they're paying. So what we have realized, and there's been proof that there are people that are paying for air billing. So what will happen is when there's no water...
What is air billing? Please try break it down as much as you can.
So that little meter in the front that measures your water, basically it measures the flow of the water through this mechanical device. So if I go to the tap and open it every 5 minutes to see if we've got water, what it's doing is it's sucking air through there. So it'll turn over the meter. So
and you get to pay for that.
You'll pay for it. So there are people that have been charged terrible bills over the years for this.
And they're not even aware of it.
No, well, they are aware of it. But the problem is when they've got to go to the council, they've got to fight it, they've got to do that story. Okay. Then we've got a problem with the billing. And when I say problem, it's more of a challenge of getting people to understand how much are you using, and are you using too much? Because you should only be using about 150 litres per person a day. Or if you're using too much,
And what do you mean 150 liters? Are you accommodating people with pools? Are you accommodating what?
everyone should be using about 150
So
liters a
in people
day.
like townships or marginalized communities, is it still the same 150?
I'm sure they're using far less than 150 because they're
Exactly.
far more practical than we are. And when you say, are we including people with the pools? I don't care about your pool. I really don't. I care about
No,
whether the
it's not.
school's
It's
got
not
water.
about caring. It's just like
Yeah,
practically to
yeah.
say, are they also accommodated in the 150 meal?
The overall thing is 150
Okay.
liters per day. If you're using more than that, you're using too much.
Okay.
If you look at your bill, and it actually does give you a breakdown of how much you're using per day. If you look at that and you divide it by the number of people in your household, if you're using more than that, then you need to start checking for leaks. Well, ask yourself, are we using too much? Am I taking 30-minute showers? And are we watering the garden? Are we doing whatever? There's no reason for us to be watering gardens or cleaning pavements or anything
Almost
like
every
that.
day.
At all. We've had enough rain. We don't have to do that. We don't have to be cleaning
And
pavements.
now that we're speaking billing, let's talk figures. Then how much is one expected to realistically pay with the recommendation that you're making?
It really depends because I mean, in our house we were using under 150 liters, just under 150 liters per person
And how
per
much would you
day.
realistically pay?
And I think our bill was like $2,000. No, it was far less than $2,000. It was about 1.5.
Do you
And that
think
includes the
it's fair?
service
Do you think
charge.
That
that's
includes
fair?
sanitation.
That includes the sanitation and
Is
it
it a fair
includes
price though? Do you find it fair?
Um,
Richard can also just jump in.
Yeah.
Okay, you've also got to understand. We were just looking at the tariff chart in Joburg. They've decided that everyone gets the first 6 kiloliters free.
Yeah.
Okay, but somebody's still got to pay for that 6 kiloliters. So what
Yeah.
they do is they put it on the sanitation charge, and in Joburg, your sanitation charge is based on the size of your plot, or if you're on flats, it's a fixed charge, and that's very high. So I've got a bill of about, I mean, there's only 2 of us in our house, and the most, supposedly what I pay for water might be 55 Rand a month, max.
Is that what you pay for?
No,
Supposedly?
no, that's for the water. But water and sanitation combined is about 700 to 800 Rand a month. Because I've got sanitation charge, there's the water demand,
The fixed
management, there's all the fixed fees.
So, and remember, it also escalates. So you pay a set price, it's 3 Rand something per kiloliter, and then after a certain value, it jumps up to 30 something per kiloliter,
Exactly.
and then that's a huge
So
jump.
what I'm learning from this conversation is that you don't just get billed for water, you get billed for water and sanitation.
Yes.
And that's what perhaps makes the prices go a little higher than people expect.
Well, remember, we don't just drink the water; we also get rid of the water. So it needs to be taken away, and we have to pay for that.
And but I think what it is, particularly we see in Joburg, it doesn't send the signal, because people will say, if I look at somebody will pay, I mean, I'm quite fortunate, I pay 800 Rand, but it's on a very small amount of water. I'm not paying the equivalent of
Believe me, you say fortunate, but for some of us, that 800, we feel like it's a lot because of the socioeconomic issues that we have as a country. And I just want to say to the audience, if you have been with us up to this point, I hope you've invited a friend. Please do like, share, subscribe. I am still hanging with Ingrid Bester and Richard Holden, and we are discussing all things water, and I've learned so much. Do comment and tell us some of your realistic billing that you would expect to pay every month, so that perhaps when we have a second episode, we discuss further how much people should realistically be spending. And thank you so much for all your views. I just want to take it a little bit astray now that we are living in times where we are incorporating AI and data centers, and people like myself weren't aware that actually that gets to affect and impact also the water crisis. So if you can just educate us a bit on that, I'd much appreciate it.
So we just need. So there's still. We still need some more scientific evidence around the use of the water and the data centers and the AI data centers. So there are some data centers here in Johannesburg, but I'm not sure that they are AI specific, because it's the AI data centers that are sucking up a lot of water and resources. I mean, I was looking at some
Who would have
videos.
known? You know, we're thinking
Well,
it's just tech. We don't think actually
well,
you get to
I'm
use.
sure you've touched your laptop and you felt how hot
Yeah.
your laptops get, or even how hot your phone gets when you hold it in your hand.
Yeah.
Now imagine these big servers and centers and that kind of thing. They need to keep cool. So what do they use? They use water. So it's definitely. I was watching some videos this morning, in the States, and there are some communities that are really struggling with this. They're struggling with the AI specific data centers. But we must be careful because data centers are the backbone of our lives. I mean, we use a data center every time we go to the shops and we buy something on the tills, or we use our phones and that kind of thing. The data is sitting, all the data we use every day in our jobs and in our lives is on a data center somewhere.
I am so glad that you are putting this out there. It's such an interesting perspective. And because we also know that water is like a human right, right?
Right.
And now we've heard that it's been taken to the Human Rights Commission. Richard, if you can jump in, what's your take on that?
Okay, it's a right, but it's a right which is not absolute. So you've got to pay for it. And let me put it in another way, sanitation, because that's a big one. Everyone talks about sanitation as dignity and therefore somebody else must handle it. And so, well, okay, how about the workers? If your dignity allows you not to handle it, shouldn't the same dignity apply to the worker? Okay, and people can't answer. And for example, I have a toilet in my house, which is completely independent of the grid. I can handle it myself. I've had it for 25 years.
Yeah.
So we've got proof that we've got systems that can function like that. If you want somebody else to provide something for you because you don't like doing it, you must pay for it. And on water doesn't come out of the air for free. It costs us huge amounts of money to come out. So the government has policies to help the indigent. They will subsidise capital costs on stuff, but it's got to be maintained. And so yes, it's your right, but if you refuse to pay for it, there have been court cases down in Etaquini where people said we have the right to any amount of water we like. They lost.
But who's supposed to be paying for the water? I mean, like with the history of the country and the current socio-economic issues that we are constantly having, I'd like to take it to people like myself who are based in townships, people who are based in rural areas, people who are unemployed, people who are living on the 350 grant is now 370. People are living on that, and your bill is like 800. It's just two people in the home, or whatever the case is. Who is supposed to be paying for that?
If you're on a grant, okay, SASSA grant, you can be registered indigent and you will get certain amounts of, so you won't pay any of the fixed charges in Joburg, at least. And you'll get yours. I think it's up to 10 kilolitres. Some people give you 10 kilolitres free. Okay. So
Are these systems in place?
Yes, they are in place. You register and you get for that.
But we're still, unfortunately, experiencing a lot of water outages.
No, the water outages come because over a long period of time, people have not paid enough for water. And also, you take areas like Santon, it's extremely low density. It costs a fortune to provide water in this area. Your pipes need replacing. This area, you see it, and it's not poor areas, rich areas, Sunning Hill, Galileo Manor, Douglasdale. You see it the whole time. There's a lot of people here.
Even the CBD.
I'm at CBD, but here in particular, I'm talking about rich upmarket areas are constantly weather because the pipes are so old. The cost of replacing your pipes is between 3,000 and 4,000 rand a metre. Go and measure the distance along your frontage here and work how much you as rich people alone would have to pay to replace your pipes. And you're going to have to pay it, otherwise you're going to have no water. And that's a reality that people don't want to accept. It is. So what I'm saying is, yes, everyone's going to pay. Some people are going to get subsidized, but somewhere along the line, it's either going to come out of taxes or tariffs. So as I put it, it's either going to come out your left pocket or your
The right
right pocket. But it's not government.
Yeah,
Government doesn't
because
have money.
I guess what I'm trying to merge is the role that the government plays and the role that the citizens are supposed to be playing. Because what can individuals realistically do to participate? I know you keep saying pay,
No.
but as a collective, in every area, it's not just in Four Ways and Santon and all these places that you've mentioned, what can individuals realistically do?
Yeah, I think we mustn't lose sight of the fact that there are a lot of people that are paying for water that just are not getting the water.
Thank you. That's another
I mean,
aspect.
there's a reason why I've had to put in a rain harvesting system. It's because I wasn't getting water, and my water was going off every night, or it would go off for weeks at a time. And so there are a lot of people that are paying for water
But are not
and that
getting
are
the
not
water.
getting it. And it's, when I say people, I'm talking about businesses as well. I'm talking about hospitals and clinics and all of that. And now there's a whole industry of borehole water deliveries and all of that has grown around that. So we do have a problem in Johannesburg, and we've got a problem with the city of Johannesburg taking Johannesburg Water's money to do the infrastructure repairs. They need a phenomenal amount of money, and they're not getting that ring-fenced money. They're not. So, and it keeps on being promised to us at the end of the financial year, it's going to be there. We'll see, we'll wait another month. And then we have to decide what we're going to do, because we have to hold them accountable.
Thank you so much.
We have to hold
and we also need to hold ourselves.
We-
so both
we-
of you are correct.
yes.
That's why I'm like, I want us to get to a point where we merge the accountability from the government, from the private sector, and also from ordinary people, to say, how can we just come into terms of all of us being held accountable?
So from my point of view, as a resident, I should be accountable for how much I use and whether I report leaks and all of that, and follow up on those leaks. Because the amount of people, and one of my biggest frustrations is I might go in, I might sit down with a bunch of people at a restaurant and say, did you guys see that leak outside? And not, yeah, we saw it, but did you do anything about it? Or do you even know how to report a leak? And that's one of my biggest frustrations.
And that's why we have shows like this, so that we can educate people as much as we can.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sorry, if we're going to have to become a world of Karens around water, then we're going to have to become a world of Karens around water, because we don't have a choice here. There are no other options when it comes to water.
Can I share Ingrid's frustration?
Yeah.
And the worst ones are, you see the videos posted of people going, "Eesh, this is a problem." And the water is going 2 meters up in the air. We had that on the Yeovil Reservoir. The Yeovil Reservoirs is one of the biggest zones in the city. We had the main supply pipe blow up. It ran all night.
Yeah.
Because nobody reported it. I've had a couple of them. We actually see on the groups, we will see somebody posting, "We don't have water pressure in our observatory this afternoon." Following morning, I found the leak on one of the roads. It was a stream going down the road. Nobody had even gone and tried to find it. So that's where, we've all got a role to play on that. And if you don't tell Joburg Water that there's leak, and please also, we were on the way up, there'll be a tiny little stream going across along the. Yes, there's a leak, report it, but that's not a major leak. Okay.
Is there such a thing? It's not a major leak.
Well, it's
that's a good question.
They're all saying, but if Joburg have to prioritise between the failure of the supply into the Yeovil reservoirs, okay, and going and dig out the road to that one, they're going to do the supply first. And if it becomes noise, which it does, and this is what we in the crisis committee have been trying to help to filter out that noise, so we get priorities work done, the bigger ones get done first. You'll have progress, but yes, you could do it, but then there's the point that some of these pipes just need replacing. They are. I mean, I was looking up at the Yeovil reservoirs the other day. I found another leak coming out, and I know
See what I
the
mean?
pipe which is leaking is probably about that size. It's huge. It's rotten. It needs replacing.
The audience right now can absolutely see why you are so passionate and advocating for the water crisis and why we brought you in studio because of your expert advice, both from different angles. So if we can just, in closing, perhaps give one recommendation to the government, the private sector, to listeners at home, what can we all do as a collective to make the water crisis a better situation?
So I think it's about taking ownership. So, and one of the reasons the Water Crisis Committee started 3 years ago, and it was started by residents, is because we wanted to take ownership of the problem. Ownership as residents, ownership as taxpayers, and get an understanding of what was going on. We knew nothing about how water got to our houses or how much we were using, where it was being stored in our city. And we took it upon ourselves to learn. And how the Water Crisis Committee grew after that is we brought on different experts. And I don't know how it happened, but we the most amazing people from WaterCan and Mobilize. And then I met Richard at the Joburg Crisis Summit and I dragged him along. And that's how, we got
So
we got
educate
involved. It was
ourselves.
about getting
I
educated.
love that. I love that. It's the
And
little things that we take for granted sometimes.
but also it's about holding people accountable. So
And
we
holding
wanted to
people
hold
accountable.
Johannesburg Water accountable. We wanted to hold because water is such a passionate project, a passionate issue. It's personal. So we wanted to hold everybody responsible. It's like we blame everybody. And what we've learned is that we need to work with Joburg Water because they're not stupid people. They know what they're doing. They just don't have the resources and they need the support. They need the information that us residents can give them about our struggles and about our needs. And we realize that, there are big challenges in our city and in local government and in national government. And that's something that we need to work on and we need to hold them accountable for.
And I hope it's the same in other provinces as well. And if you're watching from a different province and you're having a different experience or a similar experience, do feel free to drop it in your comment section and we'll try follow it up with your municipality. But Richard, also, I look forward to your reflections.
Okay, I think yes, you're talking to a wider audience, and we have to separate between, let's say, people in the rural areas.
Yeah.
Do never go into a rural area and tell people how to manage water. Never.
What do you say, never?
Because they know how to do it.
Because they know how to manage water.
Oh, nice.
We had. I used to work in community water supply and sanitation. I'll give you an example. Go and teach people to wash hands. I eventually said to my colleagues, would you go and tell your grandmother to wash her hands? She said, no, she clapped me. People in rural areas, what they do with water, how they manage water, is remarkable.
Is it systematic? Is it because of the challenges they have?
It's because of the challenges they have. I can remember going into houses in deep rural Zululand. You can eat your dinner off the floor. It is so clean. It would beat any urban house any day. So you've got to be careful with your messages on there. But when you come into the urban areas, it's different messages. So we all know Soweto doesn't pay, Alexander doesn't pay. Okay, they can afford to pay. They're not the poor areas. Soweto is no different to Yeovil. Okay, but Yeovil pays Soweto.
Oh, well, that's a topic for another day.
No,
I don't know if the audience would agree with that.
No, just go and look at the cars coming out of Soweto on a morning going up to Sandton.
But it wouldn't be too realistic to measure people on what they're driving. There's so many other factors.
No, if you can afford to, you were saying, if you can afford to drive a car water is a basic. Okay. There's differences when you go to places like a lot of the RDP settlements south of Joburg. They don't even get built. So it's not even a question. But we have chosen to throw people. So they're 40 kilometres out of Joburg. And the taxi ride in, just as the centre of Joburg, is it's 55 Rand.
So concisely, what would your reflection be? I know
Yeah,
with
so
with Ingrid, she went on, she gave us like educate yourself. Let's hold the government accountable. I would like to get that from you as
but
well, concisely.
what I'm saying is the difference in the urban areas, we all playing, a lot of people playing a part in it. It's our choice of lifestyles, where we live, the low density.
So you'd safely
So
say observe your choice of lifestyle. I'm just trying to
yeah,
get the audience to
okay,
to write in some notes that they can use
yeah,
practically.
a bit, yeah, where you live, density plays a huge impact on our costs of service, and government has got to realise that a lot of decisions that they have made, like Department of Human Settlements, where they've placed people, has contributed directly to the crisis that we have. So there's like, I was in one of the government meetings, there's like 2 million households where the RDP house has not been transferred to the beneficiary. So that means they don't get billed. But then they've gone and placed people 40, 50 kilometers outside the socioeconomic areas. So that's what I'm saying. Everyone's got a part to play, and you've got to think about it.
Including your
I
private
think
developers.
I'm just going to give you that as your reflection, that everybody's got a part to play. And yeah, let's be all accountable, not just the government. I'm going to take that from Richard. But before we close, we've got a game. You know, this is a podcast that we just want to play with you. It's not hectic, nothing hectic. Like I said, we also want people to get to know you outside your professional spaces. And this game is just simple. I'll give you two options and you'll say quickly off the top of your head which one you choose first that comes to mind. Ready? Okay. Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Dogs.
Dogs. Okay, great. And then hip hop or jazz? I think I know this one.
Hip hop.
Really? Ingrid, I wouldn't have thought.
No, I hate jazz.
Really? I'm switching to instruments.
I'll kill myself.
Okay. Indoors or outdoors?
Outdoors.
You outdoors?
Some outdoors, winter indoors.
Oh, okay. So we do a bit of both. And then tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Oh, okay. I'm the odd one out in this one. Okay. Romance movie or action movie?
Neither.
That's why Ingrid is also taking so long to answer.
I don't know. I watch a lot of stuff on water.
Okay, I think we know the answer to this one, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Solve the water crisis or the electricity crisis?
Water.
Water.
Yeah.
I
Water
knew
first.
it. I knew it. That was fun. That was
Thank you.
fun. And I'd like to thank you so much for coming. Believe you me, I am just one of the people in the communities who was looking forward into this conversation to learn. You know, I'm not coming in as an expert. I come as one with the people just to get the little answers and perhaps just, you know, understand the basic things, like you kept saying, there are basic things that we could learn and we can practice in our homes. So if you've watched until the end of the episode, you are definitely one of our community members. You care. You're officially need to join the Empowerment Zone each and every week and do share, like, comment, and invite. We look forward to engaging with you. You can engage with us on our social media platforms. My social media platforms are Queen the Empowerer on Facebook, and you can also send us your voice notes on our WhatsApp line, which is 072-187-8965. And perhaps when we're discussing water again, we can play your voice note. But also, we'd like to link up with you from your personal and professional organization. People who just want to reach out to you, and because you like outdoors, go hiking with you. Because you like coffee, go on coffee with you. Where do they find you on the social media?
So the Water Crisis Group has got a Water Crisis Johannesburg profile on X for all our sins. We've gone back to Twitter. And then we are on TikTok too. And then I've obviously got my own Facebook profile. You can follow me on there. Yes, it is Ingrid Bester, but I'm not one of those Besters. I don't apologize for him.
Clock it. We got that one. Richard, where do we get a hold of you?
Well, no, I think through the water crisis.
Yeah.
Through the water crisis. Oh, my.
So we do have a WhatsApp group. We've got a few because they are filling up quite quickly. So just hit me up on
I'd like to
X.
hop into one of those groups.
Yeah,
Believe
just
you
hit me
I'd
up on
like
X
to.
for the links and that.
Okay, we'll absolutely do that. Thank you so much for tuning. And we've come to the end of the session. But obviously, like I said, the conversation does not end here. We are looking forward to link up with you on our social media platforms and obviously on the next episode that will be coming. We will discussing everything water together with Ingrid Bester and Richard Holden. And for myself, the guests, and the awesome crew behind, we'd like to say adios until next time.
Thank you. Thank you.